Welcome to Market Insights by Nebula Trades, where we transform complex market mechanics into clear, actionable insights. I'm Nova, and I can't tell you how excited I am about today's analysis. We're looking at a fascinating setup in AI that perfectly demonstrates how market mechanics create predictable price movement. Before we dive in, let me quickly outline what we're going to cover today. First, we'll look at the current market structure and why it's so interesting. Then, we'll break down 3 key forces that are shaping price action. Finally, I'll share a practical trading approach based on these mechanics. And don't worry, I'll explain everything in a way that makes sense, even if you're fairly new to options mechanics. Let's start with the gamma profile. You know how in physics class they taught us about potential energy? Like when you compress a spring. That's exactly what's happening with AI's gamma profile right now. We've got this beautiful setup where 76% of the gamma exposure is positive and only 24% is negative. Think of it like this: the more they push the price down toward $30, the more that spring wants to bounce back up. It's not just technical analysis saying this, it's actual dealer hedging requirements forcing this behavior. But here's where it gets really interesting. You know how the weather can affect your mood? Well, volatility affects the market in a similar way, and right now, AI's Vanna profile is telling us something incredible. We're looking at 98% positive Vanna. What this means in plain English is that when market anxiety calms down, this stock wants to drift higher. It's like a boat that's naturally sailing upstream instead of downstream. Now, let me share something really cool about the current price levels. That $30 level everyone's watching? It's not just a random number. It's where 3 different market forces converge, kind of like when the stars align. We've got gamma support our spring, Vanna support our natural drift higher, and this perfectly balanced delta setup. Thinking of delta, we're seeing this 66% positive versus 34% negative split. That's like having a car with just the right amount of horsepower, not so much that it's uncontrollable, but enough to get you where you want to go. Here's what makes this setup particularly special. The interplay between these forces creates a ladder effect. First, we've got that strong support at $30 acting like a trampoline. Then, as we move higher, the gamma exposure starts ramping up, especially around $34 to $35. We can hold above $35, and this is where it gets really exciting. The mechanics suggest we could see a move all the way up to $36.50. Let me give you a practical way to approach this setup. If you're thinking about trading it, here's what I'd watch for. Entries near $30 look attractive. That's where our support is strongest. For targets, I'm looking at 3 key levels. First target would be $34. The second checkpoint is $35. That's where things get really interesting because of the gamma exposure ramping up. And lastly, $36.50 is a major gamma level. Here's what would change my mind about this setup. First, any close below $30 would be concerning. That's where our gamma support breaks down. Second, if we see volatility spike dramatically, that could disrupt our Vanna-driven upward drift. And finally, if delta becomes extremely positive, that might signal too much optimism in the market. Key to trading this setup successfully is patience and position sizing. Remember, we're not looking for a quick home run here. This is more like a strategic game of chess where each move builds on the last. The mechanics suggest a controlled move higher, but we want to respect our risk levels and not get overexposed. I'm going to be watching this setup closely over the coming weeks, especially how the gamma profile evolves as we approach these key levels. You can catch all my updates on Twitter at TradesNebula or over at nebulatrades.com. And hey, exciting news, we might start doing 2 videos per week soon. Let me know in the comments if that's something you'd find helpful. Before I wrap up, let me emphasize something important. This analysis is based on current market conditions, and we all know how quickly markets can change. Always manage your risk carefully and never trade more than you can afford to lose. The mechanics look favorable, but there's no such thing as a guaranteed trade. I'm Nova, and this has been Market Insights by Nebula Trades. Thanks for geeking out about market mechanics with me today. Remember to follow us on Twitter at TradesNebula and visit nebulatrades.com for more in-depth analysis. Till next time, trade the data, not the noise.